This is the 7 Stages Podcast.
7 Stages Podcast. 7 Stages.
Why are you making it like Carlton?
Oh, cause like kind of 90s. How you want to do it? So
We're gonna start off with just the 7 Stages Podcast. 7 Stages.
What?
7 Stages Podcast. And then we go into. Then if you want to add all them snappies, go
Okay.
ahead. So they know you gotta lay the bass down.
Okay.
Okay.
Lead us in.
7 Stages Podcast. 7 Stages Podcast.
Ooh. 7 Stages Podcast.
7 Stages Podcast.
Hello. We are 7 Stages Podcast. I am Jam Boom Boom.
And I am Coco Chanel.
And this is 7
Stages
Stages Podcast. All right. So we are back.
We are back.
From witnessing another amazing show.
Yes.
And the name of that show is called Do Not Go Gentle. Written by Susan Zeter. Directed by Alanna Kiewe.
And Alanna is actually in our cohort.
Yes! That's right. The MFA 2024 Theater Arts cohort is doing big things.
Yes.
And a big ting that production was.
Yes, it was.
And shout out to Kai Dondera, who also acted as the sound designer.
Yes.
And the props designer.
Yes.
What a show. All right, let's get right into it, yeah?
Let's jump in.
First impressions, Coco.
I'd have to say, coming on into the space, theater and around, intimate, quaint, close, familiar.
Oh, we could almost touch the actors, like, and they were in arm's reach.
Almost did.
Yeah.
They utilized the entire space. Something that I noticed. And I thought it was really cool that in the beginning they said, make sure that your feet are in their respective places because actresses and actors will be using the walkthrough. And so that let me know, they may be getting very close to us.
Very close. They used up that space for all that it's worth. I've never been, as much as I've been downtown Baltimore, never even heard of that theater. And it's a damn shame. Shout out to Spotlighters.
Yep, Spotlighters Theater.
Never heard of the theater. Walking in, it was like a time warp. I feel like I went back in time. And we've been recently going to a lot of like university theater. So big spaces, a lot more resources. They had the resources there, but like you said, more intimate. It felt like a living room theater.
You said that.
Yeah.
They said they have been open for 60 years.
That's wild.
In the same location.
That's wild. And I went to a summer program in high school, Center Stage, a block over. They wasn't talking about Spotlighters. But child, this is not that type of episode. We're going to talk about Do Not Go Gentle. So yeah. So just that was like the first impressions of the space. First impressions of the show overall before we dive into it or go on our 7 stages. Powerful. And every character, every actor told their story and held their own up there on that stage. To be so close to the audience, as one of the actors told us, feeding off of our energy because we're right there. We're not separate from
no.
We're all observers and we're so freaking close. Like it's kind of hard to play that role of audience member, be quiet. I was engaged. On the edge, engaged on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah.
That's a good point that you brought up. We've been talking about, maybe we can throw in some critique of audience etiquette.
Oh gosh.
But that is something that was mentioned in one of the last productions we went to. It's about the audience and how the audience react to the performance. And I think that I'm starting to notice that it's really, it's not even a space thing. Because at first I thought, maybe it's because the space they're in. No, I'm starting to believe that there is this etiquette, like this thought process. We need to be quiet. Yeah. And it's hard to how can you be quiet at something that is funny? I mean, I literally heard people like chuckling under their breath, but you could tell it was a respectful chuckle, like
right. Because for whatever reason, in other ceremonies where there's been other human bodies, there's just this idea that whatever is and whoever has the stage, literally whoever has the floor, like to respect, to be, but it's not disrespectful to laugh. It's not disrespectful to react. It actually, and like one of the actors said, who the actor's name is Emma Hawthorne, who played Mildred Flumack, and she told us after the show, we told her, great job. She's telling us, no, y'all were great.
And we were like, were we in the show?
Were we in the show? Yeah.
But practically, as close as the space is, this is something that is certainly a collaboration. I mean, being this close. Sure, if the stage was far away, then it would be something completely different. But it wasn't.
Yeah.
And it's not, I don't look at theater as entertainment. I mean, some people probably do. But I do look at it as something that's shared. And so I want the actors on stage to know I'm enjoying this. It's moving something in me. It kind of reminds me of like when I do poetry. I kind of start with, all right, so this is not a zoo, right? So you don't get to pet me, right?
Right.
But you definitely get to interact with me. You know, if I say something that sparks something in you, holla.
Holla.
You know, if I say something that you don't agree with, holla.
Holla.
You know what I'm saying? I need that. Like, I feed off of that.
In the introduction, because of the productions we've been seeing so far, the directors come out and introduce it. Hey, directors, put that in your intro. That intro that you do for your poetry when you're performing poetry. Put that in your intro.
It's okay.
It's okay. We ain't in whatever we think this is, where we just sit back and.
But this is not 1921. Theater.
No, it's not formal. There's nothing formal about it. And then with that mindset, we're gonna go about like we deal with each other like that in life. Like we're like passive in life. Like that's just a very passive thing. Be active. Be accepting. Give voice. There's no wrong answer to being an audience member. And this is my PSA. If you're ever gonna go see a live theater show, engage, speak, communicate. I know that even like going to the movie theaters, there's this idea like talking to the screen or like whatever. No, do that. It really helps the actors a lot. And it really lessens the tension of whatever this like highbrow art form people think that theater is.
And unlike going to the movies where people are trying to sit in silence so they can hear, this is something that is live. These are humans. These are people. So that energy does feed, it makes it harder for a performance to go through if there is not engagement.
And a long running show. Sorry to cut you off.
For sure.
They've been that was the second to last show that we saw. So I can only imagine if there's other shows that they had to like power through it because no action.
And then as a performer, I know I do this. I don't know if anybody else. I'm going to feel pretty good about my performance because I'm out there. But it does kind of be like, okay, so did they not enjoy it because no one was saying anything, or they're not catching the punchlines?
Yeah.
And are we dragging this evening? Like, you know, but that doesn't always attest to the performer. It really is the audience.
It really is the audience, and this idea that we have to be the perfect audience. Like, no, be there in the space, show up as you are. And like you said, it was damn near impossible to not react because we were so close. It was happening right in front of us.
And they put on a the performance was there.
Yes, and shout out to everyone. Let's run down the cast list.
For sure.
We have Hillary Mazer, who played Lillian Barron, the main character, the central character, I would say. And her character at the start of the show passed on. So we can get into story, plot, and performance. I thought that was an amazing tactic as far as having the character passed on, but on stage as a ghost. There were moments where the people who were alive and living, and how the director, how Alanna staged it, is that people would kind of walk past her, walk kind of through her. It gave to me this movie magic idea, that there's always something to look at. There was always something to look at on stage, whether that be Lillian, the ghost, kind of watching the action, watching her react to the action. I just thought that was brilliant, and she never left the stage. I don't know when she ever left the stage, but it was super engaging. Not that I'm getting bored watching theater, but you know I know my attention goes to other places. I'm looking up, or but to always see Lillian, the character, always there, and then it snaps me right back into the action. Like, oh wow. And sometimes it was intentional, and it made more sense to watch Lillian than to watch the main action.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was a really cool tactic. I feel like I've only seen that in movies.
The ability to jump in and out of time. Mm-hmm. and keep us engaged with that and not confused. Because there wasn't a moment where I was confused. Anytime they went back and reenacted maybe a memory that happened where she was alive, I wasn't confused by if she wasn't alive and they were back in the present. And having her on stage as much, I would imagine that if the blocking was off, that could have disrupted the smoothness of transition between different times.
It was very smooth.
It was very smooth.
And those transitions was very apparent with the blocking, and then also with the lighting and the sound transitions.
That's true.
It helped a lot. There would be moments where, so maybe we can do like a read through of the plot. I made a quick one, but I'm not sure if it's concise. Actually, I'm gonna just go with it. I'm gonna read my plot summary.
Okay, go ahead.
But Do Not Go Gentle. The story takes place post 2001. The brink of Iraq wartime. An 84-year-old woman, Lillian Barron, has passed on and leaves behind her house, which is found at the time of her death, ridden with all sorts of wall paintings and graffiti. Lillian's son, Windsor, and his family return to the home to determine what will be done with the estate. While they are deliberating what will be done with the house, with Mildred Flumack, a real estate agent, the family discovers hidden truths about the family artifacts that Lillian has left behind. The family discovers more about Lillian and how she coped with her son constantly traveling for work as an Air Force colonel, and also that recently Lillian formed a mentorship bond with a local kid named Nobody. The story encourages a deeper look into the function of art. That's my personal, but that's like
when I read that, I said, "Oh, that's you."
Yeah, that's me. Also, lots of typos in my review, but I just be in the moment. I just post it.
And that's okay.
That's all right. But yeah, so that's what we're dealing with as far as the story. And like you were saying, the time travel. Every time that the family would find maybe like a photograph or an old painting, it would snap back into, and that was executed flawlessly. I never, like you said, I was never confused. It was very clear when we were moving back and we were moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the rest of the cast too.
So there's Shannon Willing, who played Joanna.
That was the wife.
There was not a wife.
That was not the wife. Okay, now I'm confused.
There was not a wife.
There was no. That was the cousin?
Joanna was the sister or the neighbor.
The neighbor.
Well, she kept saying aunt.
She did. This is a moment of confusion for me.
Okay, so.
Because she doesn't have a last. You're right. She doesn't have a last name. Because it would be or ex.
No, she was a neighborhood. Like, she gave me very much like a neighborhood kid. Or maybe she might have even been an orphan or something. But I remember her coming over and wanting to spend more time with her because her parents weren't engaged, or whatever was going on at home wasn't as cool as what was going on at Lillian's house. However,
That's what I'm saying. So you only just kind of go at intermission and you kind of just review.
However, she has had, I don't know. It was a close relation.
Okay, close relationship.
Close relation.
Okay.
Close relation because she was helping the son with getting everything out of the house. So she was the next best thing next to the son. So I think she just was a neighborhood kid who was raised by her.
Yeah. Okay.
Or helped raised by her.
Then that's that moment of confusion for me, because even like how you said, there was never no point of like, oh, I'm married, but I just saw a man, woman, and a child. So that's just my brain being like wife. But no matter the case.
Yeah, and but you could tell with their body, like, it wasn't. And she was in more distress than the son was. Like, I don't know if you noticed that. About like the death of the matriarch or Lillian.
Yeah.
He was not in distress until which that gentleman, Windsor Barron, was played by Kingston Bowen.
Yeah, great performance.
Oh, yes.
And showed a lot of range. I think I talked about in my review, being able to go, there was that scene when he was a boy, literally the actor's voice like lifted, and I thought that was such a great effort to show, because he's a grown man. He's an older grown man presenting, but I appreciate that effort of lifting his voice and hey mom, like, funny, haha, but it also helped me to go, oh, time travel. And he didn't have to do too much to present that.
No.
Yeah, I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And then there was some physicality there as well. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then there's Kelly Barron, who was the daughter. The granddaughter.
Yes.
Sam.
Yeah.
Klarner.
Sam Klarner. Shout out to her. Mm-hmm. I wrote down in the aesthetics, she had the Michael Jackson's Thriller shirt on. So that was instantly giving me like postmodern. That was instantly giving me pop culture. Teen angst. She brought the teen angst. And her angst was justified. Her angst was justified. Yeah. And I like that. So that's a shout out to the playwright. Because it's like, as a kid, you don't really have too much to point to as far as like, but I feel this way. But it's like, you're still a kid. So how you feel, if it's not matched up to something that makes sense, then keep that to yourself. But a lot of what Kelly was spitting was like, damn, like, why didn't we spend time with grandma? Like, damn, what really happened here? Man, I hate moving. Like, things like that. And all of her angst was justified. And ultimately, I felt that her character got a resolution throughout the play, as far as revealing the painted walls.
I thought there was a lot of resolution.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and just speaking, because now I'm just thinking of the character. There was a lot of resolve with, like, I knew it. I knew grandma, like, didn't just not care about me, because there was that whole scene where she wanted to be taken in during the summer, but Lillian was already taking care of nobody, or at least tending to the other kid.
Yeah. So
the granddaughter feeling some type of way, but resolve in knowing that, oh damn, my grandma did love me. She loved all of us. She was looking out for us, and she was thinking of us. And that was great. And also her character, if you notice this, when the ghost of Lillian was on stage, the ghost would be talking, and Kelly, the granddaughter, would be the only character who could hear her at times. It was played to be like, huh? What you say? Did you say my name?
I did.
But she was the only one, and that let me know just this connection that kids have to the spirit world. Like that idea that like kids are innocent and they're more closer to God. Like I like that concept, how it got played out. It reminded me of that principle of like, oh, like she can hear her grandma. She still has that purity, that innocence to her, that connection to like the spirit world.
Miss Flumac.
Oh my goodness, so funny.
Mildred Flumac, the comedy, every line almost had, at least we knew at the end was going to have some punch, even in the way that she moved on stage, careless but careful. I really appreciated the way that her blocking was in and out, up and down, all through the house. She was one of the characters that moved all through the house freely. There were moments where other characters went in other places and pockets, but she was continuously moving back and forth on stage and off stage. So I really appreciated that. Did you see Nobody Coming? Because we saw him.
We saw him in a flash.
We did, and then we were like, "What?
I don't know what this is
happening." And then, do you feel like that was played?
I didn't see him being a prominent character. No. From that entrance in the beginning.
No.
Said no lines in Act 1. Act 2, he was damn near the star. The central character, right?
Yeah.
But I liked how that built up. Because I didn't get it. And I didn't have to get it.
No. But it did raise questions that we knew, okay, something's going to go on with this. So that was good. That was really good.
Yeah. They played that really well.
The set wasn't too much going on. We had 3 chairs, maybe like a table or book case sort of, and then there was like offset, there was like a window with, I think there was like a window over there, and then like spread out, but it wasn't a lot crowded on stage. And if they had any additional parts, it seemed like, or any additional props, they brought those from other areas. So I mean, I really appreciate the minimalism in that.
And it wasn't centrally focused on what was on stage. The stage also extended to the corners of the theater.
Right.
So great. It opened up the entire space. So special shout out to Alanna. I could see her vision very clearly.
Yeah.
That's something that we raved about during intermission. I was going to say halftime. That's something that we raved about during halftime and after the fact. Just to know what we've been learning as far as directing, as far as, and then what she already, had under her belt as far as her toolkit. But I just left proud. I left with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
I left because being that close and seeing actors act, man, that's something I will never, I'll never play it down. It's a true craft to learn all those lines, to learn the blocking, and then to have to emotionally connect to what it is that you're doing.
Correct.
Man, and being so up close and seeing their craft, seeing them switch faces, seeing them apply the blocking. I'm like, damn, now that's craft.
And I mean, applying it.
Yeah.
It was like a dance at one point where people were transitioning on and off the stage. Or on and off, because the stage extended, like you said, in corners. Some folks would transition to the corner part of the stage, but it didn't seem crowded. And it certainly was choreographed. I mean, there's no way that I don't think it could have gone any other way for it to seem very smooth and free-flowing the way it did.
What are your takeaways? What are your personal connections? And what can you take away from the experience, but also the story?
Okay, what are your takeaways? I would say human experience, or the human experience, doesn't have to have a color to it or a socioeconomic background that can keep people, that can either stimulate a connection, and that's what I saw with Nobody and Lillian, that he was basically loitering it, like vandalizing her house, and she was a G about it.
Yeah.
You know? And to me, like, that type of interaction, not being afraid, not being scared to interact with things that are outside of your norm, is one thing that I would say is a takeaway. The second thing I took away was sometimes it be other people around you that care for you and love you outside of your family. And sometimes it takes them to show your family the value in who you are and what you do. And I'm seeing that commonality happen. And then the last thing is, I still just leave with a good old appreciation for theater.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah.
To draw us into a world, to be that close, that's art.
Yeah.
It's not far away. It was very close. They transported us into another world. That's theater.
True collaborative effort.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good point that you made about it'll take others outside of your family, because family comes with that baggage of, oh, I know them, I'm familiar with them, we've been through experiences together, and then it can almost come to like a point where it's like you kind of take advantage, or you take advantage of just how familiar you are with the person. It'll take a fresh new perspective to be like, damn, my grandma is that girl, or like my grandpa is that man, is that guy, my grandpa is him. And that's a really good point. One of my biggest takeaways is just the power of art. And I wrote this, just what embracing these kind of chaotic emotions, or something that we can't point to, oh, like this emotion reminds me of this movie or this story or this time that this, it's like, no, these are like, we're always creating like new emotions, we're always reacting to something new, and sometimes it can get out of hand, it can get chaotic. Nobody's feeling of being unable to read and write and then being mocked about it connected to Lillian, because she was like, well, I've been othered, I've been ostracized, I've been separated from my family. That's I know what it's like. How? Let it out. You know what, matter of fact, let's paint about it. She really wanted to resolve these deep what is the word? Unexplored, like it's like the same word as like unexplored, these deep unterrained, whatever the word is, just what hasn't been, the path that hasn't been, walked down before, these kind of deep and uncharted territory, these uncharted emotions that can kind of come across as like, oh, I don't want to talk about that, or I don't want to. She embraced that, and then how art can encapsulate that so that it can relate to others. I just thought that the climax of the play towards the end, the revealing of the paintings, oh my goodness, the revelations, it's like, yeah, that's what happens when you embrace those.
And it's almost like I thought I was going to feel something different when the paintings were revealed. I thought I was going to feel more, I guess, closure or something like that. But I actually got closure from the family coming to their understandings, coming together. And so the paintings were just like the icing, like, oh, yay, we get to see the paintings. But it was the family, the resolve of the family, and them finally seeing and understanding outside of their own world, outside of who they thought she was. Because coming into that house, they really did paint her like she was a mad woman.
Yeah.
Or like someone else did it. And they were like, how did my mother was an 84-year-old? And I don't know, it kind of also goes to like this ageism thing where folks that get older, there's no use for them anymore. There's no use in society. And the use that is for them is to get told what to do, right? He wanted her to come live in some home so that he could monitor her, so he could know what she was doing when he chose at whatever time that was. But like she kind of mentioned, you're not going to be there. Why would I uproot my comfort? Why would I uproot what I know, what I'm comfortable? Yeah, I fell and broke a hip or a knee or whatever she had happen. It still wasn't enough for her to uproot herself to be somewhere else so that he could feel comfortable with his decisions.
To stay at Autumn Leaves.
Yeah.
Retirement home.
Yeah, and so like looking at age and looking at that there is still a use for folks that are older. And there were older actors and actresses on stage.
Oh my goodness.
And they held it down.
They were seasoned.
Yeah, and showed us that there is a place for you here. There is a place for you in the theater still. And I appreciate that.
They were top tier, too.
Yeah. I mean, like Lillian, who Hillary Mazer, she only had, 3 minutes off? She had a lot of lines.
When she wasn't talking, she was standing under them lights, sitting under them lights. She was on stage. She was physically present. That takes a lot.
Yeah.
No, these are seasoned.
And in her body, she was in... Yeah.
Seasoned players were on stage.
Seasoned players on stage.
That's a really good point. They tackled a lot. Ageism, wartime, and how that separates us. We've been seeing a lot of... what you trying to tell us, universe?
Third, because there was Chekhov, and then we had Chloe and Kayla.
Yeah.
They covered the brink of war, Iraq, right? And then Do Not Go Gentle.
And to think these were in those times. I don't know who quoted where like American history, maybe this was in a play or maybe in class, like there's never been a time when we've been alive since there hasn't been wartime. So to think of these plays that we've been seeing, how it affects the everyday people.
Yeah.
Not just those who decide to serve. And then how it kind of makes the everyday man, woman feel powerless. And then how does it shift them internally? And I appreciate being able to see that process for a character develop and using war as a catalyst to how it can change the story that we're telling, what kind of story is being told, and what kind of story is being told about war too. It's heavy, but I'm so glad that they made it light with comedy, made me laugh.
Yeah. Back to the laughing.
Yeah. Made me laugh and made me say, war. Huh. War. What is it good for? What?
Absolutely nothing.
Sing it to me. Oh, war. Ha. Whoa.
Well,
you know?
Shall we?
Shall
we wrap it up with a game of Zip, Zap, Zop?
We shall wrap it up with a game of Zip, Zap, Zop. Before, again, special shout out to Alanna Kiewe.
Special.
Kai Dondero, the entire cast and crew of Do Not Go Gentle, Spotlighters Theater. Thank you for an amazing night of entertainment and theatre. All right.
Once and again.
Zip, zap, zop. We're back.
All right.
Anything you want to do to prepare? Because you've been taking a lot of L's, and I feel sorry for you.
You should not feel sorry.
But I do.
You don't.
In my heart of hearts.
No, you don't. And I don't think it's healthy to tell these people stories.
Oh, you're right. I'm lying.
You are.
So you want to get started?
Let's go.
All right. Zip.
Zap.
Zop.
Zip.
Zap.
Zap.
All right. Best 2 out of 3? We're done.
No,
we're doing 3 rounds.
Okay, come on.
Zip.
Zap.
Zop.
Zip.
Zap.
Zap.
Zip.
Zap.
Zop.
Zip.
Zap.
Zip. I said zop.
And you said zop.
I said zop.
All right, last one.
Okay.
I guess.
I got that one.
You surely didn't. Zip.
Zap.
Zop.
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 Zip.
Zip.
Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot see it, but she went for my jugular. And, clearly I won that one. Thank you so much. This is Jam Boom Boom.
Coco Chanel.
And we are
7 Stages Podcast. It's a 7 Stages Podcast.
Seven Stages. Coco Chanel, Jam Boom Boom. We coming
out.
in the...